All right, welcome back to the George Poulos podcast. I'm super happy to be here with you again to share more about my journey of meditation and spirituality and talk about my insights and the things I'm learning and experiencing as I go deeper into my journey of meditation. If you didn't already know, I'm currently taking a meditation teacher training at 3 Jewels in New York City. I just completed week 7, which is insane. The training is 10 weeks long, so we're really nearing the finish line now. And words cannot even come close to describing how beautiful this experience has been. I am seriously forever changed. So on that note, and before I start rambling about what I want to get into in this episode, quick announcement, I'm still running a 15% discount on all of my merch at georgepoulos.com/store if you use code MEDITATE. So this Let Be embroidered hoodie is one of the designs. I hand drew this design and now you can get it on a hoodie. There's also cute little flower doodles. So 50% of my profits from this holiday sale, I will be donating to the 3 Jewels NYC end of year fundraiser. Much of that money will be going towards scholarships so people can take next year's meditation teacher training at less or no cost. You can also donate directly to 3 Jewels using the link in my description. Okay, I also wanted to shout out that on November 21st to November 30th, Hector Marcel, who is the teacher of this meditation teacher training, is leading a Buddhism 101 spiritual warriorship mini training. So these are 3 different days, 3 different online classes. These are by donation and no one will be turned away for lack of funds. So I just wanted to shout this out to this audience because if you're anything like me, this Buddhist wisdom is everything I've been looking for. Like seriously, this meditation teacher training is saving my life and you all deserve this gift. So I highly recommend signing up for this Buddhism 101 workshop. I'll be taking the class, so you'll see my little face on Zoom as well. I'll leave the link in the description to sign up for that. Okay, so those are the announcements. Now let's get into the aimless rambling that is the George Poulos podcast. So the first thing that I wanted to say is that my heart is absolutely exploding. This meditation teacher training is changing my freaking life. First of all, I've been meditating every day now for over 7 weeks. So I'm really coming back in tune with my own wisdom, right? Like not only am I gaining so much wisdom and experiencing so much love from the meditation teacher training experience itself, I'm also being forced through meditation every day to confront my own wisdom. And I have a lot of courage inside. I have a lot of my own wisdom inside. I have a lot of creativity inside, and I'm accessing all of these things through my daily meditation practice, and it is so beautiful. I've been talking a lot about the concept of the upward spiral, so I'm really having this experience where meditating every day is giving me more and more courage, more and more of a backbone, more and more resilience, and I'm facing these little fears every day, which is making it easier to face fears the next day and the next day and the next day. I often talk about like hesitation or fear or the temptation to not show up, even when it comes to this podcast itself. This one was quite easy to show up for. In fact, there was more of an excitement. So really, the daily meditation practice has just been so beautiful. I'm still doing the inner guide meditation, and something I wanted to share about doing the inner guide meditation every day, and I'll just briefly summarize it because I feel like I explain this in every episode now. The inner guide meditation is where you sit in your meditation posture, you briefly get centered on the breath, then you start to imagine that you're hanging out with your teacher. So your teacher can be an actual teacher that you admire and respect, or it can be the idea of your future enlightened self. Regardless of who you choose, you hang out with this higher being, you feel what it's like to be with them, and every time in this meditation, you share with them something that you're struggling with or something that you struggled with the prior day, and you share with them something that you are doing great, something beautiful about yourself, or something that you did really well the prior day, like being kind to someone, or having a beautiful moment with someone, whatever it is. So the sharing of those two things, this is called the purification of the quote unquote bad thing and the amplification of the quote unquote good thing. These two steps, right? Hanging out with this teacher every day and doing these two steps makes it very, very hard to be in a downward spiral. It's almost impossible because this gives you the opportunity every morning or whenever you sit down for meditation. This practice gives you the opportunity to review the past day you had and think about those moments where you clammed up, you hid, you didn't do so well, you didn't act out of kindness, maybe you acted out of selfishness or fear, right? So you get to review your day and confront these things in the face. You confront those times where you weren't able to be yourself, right? For me, it's this idea of hiding. It's this idea of having my walls up and protecting myself and putting my heart in a cage, right? So every day I get to scan my mind over the past 24 hours, and I don't have to bury these things down, and importantly, I don't have to habituate these things where I messed up. I get to confront them and share them with this teacher that I'm imagining, and we get to purify it together. We get to watch it disappear. I actually, with my mind, with my meditation, give myself the feeling of having overcome this thing. Something I've been doing more lately on advice of one of the teachers at 3 Jewels is, in the meditation as well, making a promise to that teacher that the next time I'm in a situation like this, I will try to see the situation through their eyes. So this is very, very powerful, and it trickles into the rest of my days. Whenever I'm faced with a situation where I feel I have an option between fear and love, where I have a choice between expanding past my limits or staying safe and within my limits, I can think, okay, I did this meditation this morning. Is my teacher with me right now? What advice would they have? What would they suggest? What encouragement might they have? And in my actual day outside of the meditation, I think about what I experienced in the meditation where my teacher gave me advice and I made this promise to see the situation through my teacher's eyes. So that's been an incredible practice. And another beautiful effect of this is that when I do slip up during the day, I don't have to feel as guilty about it. I don't have to ruminate about it because I know that in my next meditation, I'm going to think of that moment where I hid, where I was small, where I limited myself, where I acted selfishly, whatever the thing was. I don't have to beat myself up about it all day if I know I'm going to address it in that meditation. So it's been really beautiful in that way, and you can hear in this line of thinking the importance of meditating every day. And I spoke about this in the last episode too, but the daily thing, it's like if you're meditating every day, you can always catch yourself before you start spiraling downwards. So that's the purify step, but then you have the amplify step. So in the purify step, you're like preventing a downward spiral. You're addressing those habits that you have that keep you limited, that keep you stuck. In the amplify step, you share with your teacher something beautiful about yourself or some amazing, kind, loving thing you did the past day, and you rejoice in that thing together. Together, you acknowledge the infinite ripple effects of that thing, that loving act, because every loving act does have an infinite ripple effect throughout the world. Even just smiling at a stranger who might have been having a hard day and suddenly they feel, oh, I'm not alone. This person just smiled at me on the street. And then the next thing they do might be a little bit kinder. And that affected that person, and then that person will act kinder. You can feel how this ripple effect works. So you celebrate every single little thing that you did that was loving or kind or compassionate. you can celebrate, because it really is beautiful, and those are the thoughts and actions that change the world for the better. So you have the purify step in this meditation, and you have the amplify step. The purify step prevents the downward spiral. You catch yourself every day. There's no need to ruminate about how you messed up. There's no need to guilt yourself. You catch it. And then in the amplify step, you encourage the upward spiral. And I'm really feeling in my day-to-day that it's becoming easier and easier and easier to face my fears. It's becoming easier and easier and easier to keep my heart open. It's becoming easier and easier and easier to create exactly what I want to create and express it and share it with the world, and not get caught up in bullshit about algorithms and views and validation. And anytime I do get caught up in that bullshit, I address that in meditation as well. Words cannot describe how potent this practice has been for me. And it's not surprising, right? Because this is ancient wisdom. This is a meditation straight from Tibetan Buddhism, this particular lineage of Tibetan Buddhism that Three Jewels is working with and teaching. It's absolutely incredible. I feel like for much of my spiritual journey, I was reading a book from this teacher here, a book from this teacher here, and while all of this studying from these various different sources absolutely tremendously impacted my life for the better, I always kind of felt like I was on my own, picking some wisdom here and some wisdom here and getting some insight from this teacher here and this teacher here. I sort of felt like I was building this thing on my own. But now I'm like, holy shit. Like tons and tons of people have done this exact meditation and it's worked for them for generations and generations. No wonder it's working for me. So that doubt about like, oh, does this meditation really work? Or is this all just in my head? The funny thing is it is all just in my head, because if you remember karma and emptiness, everything is empty of a nature. I'm creating the world that I see. So it is all in my head, but if this I'm developing the wisdom that knows that everything is in my head. So if something is in my head, that makes it real for me. So then I can pursue this deeper and deeper and deeper and play these mind games to make myself better, to make myself more loving, more expansive, more free. It's incredible. Words cannot describe. Okay, so I touched on how potent it's been to meditate every day. And I mentioned on my Instagram story, I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast yet, but choosing a set time to meditate every day has been a life changer as well. So I've settled upon first thing in the morning, right after I wake up. I'm now meditating for 15 to 20 minutes. The beautiful thing about choosing a set time is it takes away a lot of the thinking and processing power. So I don't have to think about if and when I'm meditating anymore at all, period. I wake up, I meditate. So I wake up and I start immediately getting into the zone. My brain is getting used to the routine. And very importantly, this setting a fixed routine for your meditation practice gets rid of one of the primary distractions that you'll face in meditation, especially as a Westerner in this hyper-productive society, which is the thought pattern that goes, should I be doing something else? If you have a set time for your meditation every day and you ingrain that habit and you actually do it at that time every day, that thought will start disappearing. You'll no longer wonder, should I be doing something else? Because it's become a part of your routine. So I can't tell you how many meditation sessions in my past were just permeated with this distraction of wondering if meditation was the best thing I should be doing at the time. You got to get rid of that, and you can get rid of it pretty quickly by just setting a fixed routine for meditation. By no means does it have to be first thing in the morning, but I find that that works really well for me. I find that as my day goes on, as my meditation gets further and further away, I get more and more caught up in work and relationships and all the worldly affairs that the day demands. I find that it's harder to settle into the meditation. For example, if I try to meditate at like 2 p.m., I'll be in the middle of work thinking about all these brand deals, all this stuff about money and responsibilities and plans. And when I sit down on the cushion, it's just harder to bring myself there. I have to battle all these distractions. So I quite like first thing in the morning. It's been so beautiful for me. I'm not really yet thinking about all the stressors of the day. So it's easier to just get present, to just get right into my heart center and see what the meditation has to offer me that day without having to sift through all those distractions. On that note, I experienced this the other day where before my morning meditation, I checked my phone. I saw a notification from my email or something that totally triggered me. And that email was in my head for the first half of the meditation. So I think for me, and this is still something I'm working on, it's really important not to check my phone before meditating because I want as clean of a mind as I possibly can getting onto that cushion for the sole reason that it allows me to get deeper into my meditation faster. Right? So instead of having to spend 5 to 7 minutes sorting through all these distractions and these triggers, if I wake up and my mind is fresh, I can probably sink deep into the meditation in maybe 1 to 2 minutes. And then I start having insights and blissful experiences and chills throughout my body and all these amazing things, right? And I have a strong, focused meditation. Okay, so that's just a tip that has been working for me. And then I also want to share, so one of the steps in this Buddhist lineage that I'm learning, one of the steps in the preliminaries is to prepare the space. Preparing the space essentially means like prepare your sacred meditation space because the space you're in is a reflection of your mind. So it really does help to have a clean space. And I've been building an altar. I've got various books that have impacted me on my spiritual journey on this bookshelf. And on top of it, I've got like this photo of Ram Dass, a couple of Buddha figures, candle, incense, photo of Pocket, photo of my grandpa, different things that like have this power of zoning me in. So what I've been doing when I wake up is that I will light the candle, light the incense, play some like soft emotional music that sort of gets my heart moving. And then I'll start cleaning up the room. So I don't meditate in a messy room. I want to make sure it's clean and tidy. And since that music is playing and that incense is burning and the candle is burning, and I'm looking at all these beautiful photos and books and symbols, as I'm cleaning my room and getting ready for my meditation session, my heart will already start breaking open. Sometimes I'll start crying while I'm prepping the space. And I love it. I love it. This has become one of my favorite steps of the preliminaries for meditation. It's so beautiful. It's basically the same effect of what I'm describing about the importance of setting a set routine for your meditation. Prepping the space gets me in the zone before I even sit down. Like it's become a part of the ritual. And my brain is associating this act of prepping the space with peace, with meditation, with being emotional. So sometimes I'll sit down to meditate. I'm already crying. My heart is already wide open and I'll like sink in right away. And it's incredible. And it's become important, a very important, potent, and beautiful part of my meditation routine. So I just wanted to highly recommend that as well. Creating an altar of sorts that you can place special symbols and images on, and then taking some time to just tidy up a little bit, and maybe if you want as well, play some music that you really love like I do. I don't meditate with the music on, it's just while I'm kind of cleaning things up and lighting the candles. But yeah, again, it's been I love it. I love it. Okay, and I'm going to shift focus here to social media. So I have this really cool new mindset about using social media. I've actually spoken a lot about social media addiction on this podcast, and I found a new mindset that has been incredible for social media addiction. And the best part about this mindset is that you don't have to address the addiction at all. You can keep it right there like it is. All you have to do is shift how you're engaging with social media. So this is connected to everything I've been going through on my journey of meditation and this meditation teacher training. Like some of my primary efforts and intentions have been around letting my walls down and becoming more expressive and more creative and basically showing myself to more people on a more regular basis because I've been sick and tired of hiding and having my walls up. So it dawned upon me, I have a really bad social media addiction, like I'm scrolling all the time. It dawned upon me that for the most part, when I'm doom scrolling or just incessantly scrolling on social media, I'm literally just consuming. I'm just hitting this very shallow dopamine need. I'm just consuming. It's just for me. It's all for me, right? Something shifted when I learned about karma and emptiness and when we started doing our social media homework, where I was like, if I'm going to be spending all this time incessantly scrolling on social media, if I'm addicted to social media, why not use that time to send as much love as I possibly can to people? So I've literally been experimenting with liking as many posts as I can, sending as much love to people in the comments as I can, reposting things to my story. Just if I'm going to be on there anyway scrolling, why not try to make people feel good? And it kind of blows my mind that, like, thinking about my past, I would be scrolling on Instagram or TikTok and I would really enjoy and resonate with posts, but I wouldn't say anything. Sometimes I wouldn't even like it. And I identified through all the digging I've been doing in meditation that my walls were so tall that sometimes I felt self-conscious to leave a comment on someone else's Instagram post, which is so sad. But because of all this work I'm doing, the walls are coming down. I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to be on my phone all the time, I'm going to make people feel good. I'm going to leave nice comments all the time. I'm going to like everything. I'm going to repost. Okay, so now this social media addiction is not just feeding this shallow, selfish need for dopamine. I'm getting dopamine from making other people feel good, from showing love to other people. That is way better dopamine than incessant doom scrolling dopamine. Like, it feels good to make people feel good. So if you're addicted to social media, show love to people left and right, everywhere. Show love to people. Showing love to people feels good. There's a karmic implication to this too. If you're showing people love on social media, you're going to get more love back. It's a law of karma. What's the karmic seed being planted if you're just scrolling and consuming and going deeper and deeper into a hole and not really showing support to anybody? I don't know, but it can't be good. I think that what you're going to get back from that is not going to be that good. So I just wanted to throw that out there in case anybody else is struggling with social media addiction. I'm still on my phone all the time, but it doesn't feel like a problem anymore. It feels like quite a nice, wholesome activity now, to be honest. Yeah, I really used to hole myself in, and when I say used to, I mean 7 weeks ago. Like, I really holed myself in. I was really hiding. I was really afraid to post what I wanted to on social media, and I wasn't even like engaging and supporting other people. So that's something that I highly recommend. If you're on social media a lot, is just love everybody. Love everybody as much as you can. Life is short. Make people feel good. And then one more thing I want to say about social media, and it's connected to what I was talking about meditation earlier. I've been continuing this experiment with facing my fears on social media. I've done like walking and talking videos. I've just been posting more. I've been trying to express myself authentically and just become fearless in that regard. And what I want to say is that similar to how the daily meditation makes it easier and easier and easier to face my fears, like it creates that upward spiral, facing my fears on social media, pushing through the discomfort and being myself and posting it on social media and not worrying about the engagement or the likes or the views. Not only does that make it easier and easier and easier to do that on social media again, it makes it easier and easier and easier to break through fear in other aspects of my life. So it's not just social media. Social media is like a frontier to work with, absolutely. And breaking through fear barriers and pushing past your limits on social media will make it easier to do that in other parts of your life as well. Like, the gist of what I'm trying to say here is that if you have the courage to be yourself on social media, it will be easier to be yourself in front of people. It will be easier to be yourself at the party, at the class, amongst your family, etc., etc., etc. It is all connected. So wherever your frontier is, don't gaslight yourself into thinking it's not significant. If you want to push the frontier on social media, do it. Like where it's not silly, it's not stupid. This is the work. This actually is the work. And it's going to cascade into every aspect of your life. Okay, so just to share another example, since I'm always bringing up the example of social media, another area where I've been consciously working on this is walking on the sidewalk in public. I have a tendency when I catch someone's eyes to immediately look away. So what I've been consciously trying to do is if I catch someone's eyes in public, I will consciously try. And sometimes I try to remember, okay, my teacher is with me. What would my teacher do? I'll try to hold the eye contact long enough to give them a smile. That's another frontier I've been working with. And for me, it's difficult. It is a frontier. It is uncomfortable. But every time I push past that and I do it, it's like this incredible rush. And then it gets easier again. And that's a real human connection. Like looking at someone in the eyes and smiling, it could be huge for someone. Like, I don't know if you've ever felt that, like having a hard day and then you just catch the right look from someone and they smile and it's like something happens in your heart. So that's another example of like a frontier for me that I've been pushing. So I like the obvious ones for me are like social media, the sidewalk experiment. Also just showing up for meditation teacher training for me. I'm just like constantly trying to take my walls down lower and lower and lower because I'm doing a great job of lowering these damn walls, but they're still there. So there's more work to push through. And there are frontiers that you can push all over the place. Like I could be more fearless in my meditation. I could be more open amongst my partner even. I could be more truthful in all these different ways with all these different people. So wherever the frontier is for you, this is the work. And you fucking got this. I love you. All right, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week.